The village of Greenwillow woke each morning before the sun. Roosters crowed in the distance, cattle shifted lazily behind wooden fences, and faint threads of mist hovered above fields still wet with night dew. In the modest clay brick home at the far edge of the village lived a little girl, Hazelthorn, whose eyes held more curiosity than her small world could contain. A morning like many, yet different, Hazelthorn woke to the soft hum of her mother grinding wheat in the courtyard. The rhythmic talk-talk of the stone mill blended with the distant rustle of leaves swaying against early winds. Her father had already left for the fields. Like every day, Hazelthorn stretched her small arms. Her face still warm from sleep. "Ammy, the sun isn't out yet," she yawned. Her mother smiled softly. "That is why you must get ready quickly, little one. Only early risers conquer the world." Hazelthorn didn't fully understand what conquer meant, but she liked how it sounded: strong, brave, important. She quickly washed her face, wiped it with her mother's old cotton dupatta, and tied her hair into 2 uneven braids. Her mother fixed them gently. Then came Hazelthorn's pride, her bicycle. It was a small, slightly rusty thing, with a crooked bell and a seat wrapped with hand-stitched cloth. Her father had bought it at a village fair when she was 7. For Hazelthorn, it wasn't just a bicycle, it was freedom. The ride through the village, Hazelthorn pedaled down the narrow dirt road, kicking dust into the morning air. Chickens scattered out of her path. Children waved. A group of women carrying water pots smiled at her. "Off to school, Hazelthorn?" One of them laughed. "Yes, Kala." She shouted back proudly. The path twisted through golden fields where wheat swayed like ripples on water. She could see her father bending over a row of seedlings, his back straight and determined. He lifted his hand to wave at her, his little girl, the light of his life. Hazelthorn always slowed a bit as she passed him. "Baba, I'll study well today." She called. "May your pen shine brighter than the sun," he replied. Those words stayed in her heart. The school that changed her. The village school was small, 2 rooms, painted in fading blue, with cracked windows and an ancient banyan tree standing proudly beside it. Hazelthorn loved that tree. Its giant branches made her feel safe, like she was sitting beneath the arms of an old guardian. Inside the classroom, she sat in the front row, ready before everyone else. She adored learning. Each new word, each number, each colorful picture filled her with joy. Her teacher, Miss Alina, admired her. "You are meant for big things, Hazelthorn," she would say, and Hazelthorn believed her, though her world had not yet shown what big things looked like, a mind that saw beauty everywhere. During breaks, Hazelthorn would draw. She sketched leaves, birds, sunlight falling on old walls, women working in fields, children chasing goats, everything that shaped her world. Her classmates often gathered around her. "Haze, make me a drawing of a peacock. Draw my house but make it prettier." She did it all with a smile. She didn't know it yet, but art was becoming her first language, a language through which she would later earn money, confidence, and recognition. Evenings in the fields. After school, Hazelthorn often joined her parents in the fields. The crops stretched endlessly like a green ocean. The earth smelled of life, warm, rich, and hopeful. Her father gave her small tasks. "Help your mother pick fresh vegetables," he would say. Hazelthorn giggled as she filled her little basket. "Baba, will I ever be as strong as you?" He placed a hand on her head. "Stronger, my child. Much stronger." Nights of dreams. At night, the stars shone brighter than lanterns. Hazelthorn lay on the roof beside her mother, listening to stories of brave queens, wise women, and legends of lands. "Ammy, do queens really exist?" Hazelthorn asked once. Her mother chuckled. "Oh yes, my sweetheart. Queens are not only those who wear crowns. A real queen is the one who rises every time she falls." Hazelthorn didn't know it then, but she would spend her entire life rising, higher than anyone believed she could. The first spark of destiny. One evening, as she watched fireflies dance in the fields, Hazelthorn whispered to herself, "Someday I will do something great." The wind carried her words into the darkness, as if promising to return them to her someday. She didn't know how, she didn't know when, but something deep inside her stirred. A calling. A spark. A beginning, and thus, in the quiet village of Greenwillow, under a sky full of silent stars, the journey of Lady Hazelthorn began, the girl who would one day rise from humble fields to inspire the entire world. The years rolled forward like gentle waves, carrying Hazelthorn from childhood into the blooming season of adolescence. The village of Greenwillow seemed unchanged, the same winding dirt paths, the same open skies, the same golden fields, yet she was changing every day. Hazelthorn was now in secondary school, her mind sharper, her dreams bigger, and her heart full of new feelings she didn't quite understand. The girl who outgrew her bicycle, Hazelthorn's beloved little bicycle, had begun to look small beneath her growing frame. But she still rode it every morning, her school bag bouncing on her back as she sped through the fields. The wind tangled her hair, the sun warmed her face, and every pedal stroke whispered, "Forward. Forward. Forward." People of the village had begun noticing her more. "She's growing into a fine young woman," elders said, "a bright mind." Her teachers would add. Hazelthorn still carried the same purity, the same sparkle. But life was about to introduce her to emotions she had never known. The first flicker of the heart. In secondary school, Hazelthorn met Aidan, a quiet boy with thoughtful eyes who often sat in the second row. He wasn't the loudest, nor the smartest, but something about him felt familiar, comfortable, warm. Their paths crossed in small ways, a shared book, a smile exchanged across the classroom, a walk together after school when their ways coincidentally aligned. One afternoon, he said softly, "You're always in a hurry to get home. Do you help your parents in the fields?" Hazelthorn nodded, surprised he had noticed. "Yes. They work hard. I like helping them." Aidan smiled. "It suits you. Kindness." Her heart fluttered, a strange, gentle flutter she would remember for years. It was not love, not romance, just the innocent awakening of a young heart learning to recognize companionship. They never held hands, never exchanged promises. But they shared something far more raw, a quiet, unspoken understanding. And for Hazelthorn, that was enough, a soul shaped by art. School life grew busier. Teachers began giving Hazelthorn extra responsibilities, especially anything related to drawing, design, or creativity. Her art had evolved beyond simple sketches. She created intricate project covers, beautiful diagrams, decorated charts, painted boards for school events. Her reputation spread quickly. "Hazelthorn, can you make my science project cover? I'll pay you if you can complete my model today. Please, make something for the exhibition, only you can." Soon she was earning small amounts of money, sometimes 5 rupees, sometimes 10, sometimes more. The coins were simple and few, but they meant the world to her. She saved every rupee in a small wooden box under her bed. Her mother once found it. "These coins. What are they for?" Hazelthorn smiled shyly. "For my higher studies, Amy. One day I want to go beyond this village." Her mother kissed her forehead softly. "My daughter, you are already going beyond." Between school and sunset, after school, Hazelthorn always rode back through the fields, where the golden wheat danced like tiny flames under the sun. Her father would wave from afar, his face covered in dust, but his smile always bright. She ran to him, taking the basket from his hands. "Let me help," she insisted. "You already help enough," he replied. "But you are building a future where your hands hold books, not soil." "But Baba, I love the soil too." He looked at her with pride. "And that is why you will succeed. A person must remember their roots while reaching for the sky." They walked home together as the sun melted behind the hills, friendships that strengthened her spirit. Hazelthorn wasn't the most outgoing girl. Yet she had a small circle of friends, girls who enjoyed her humor, admired her talent, and leaned on her kindness. They would often gather under the banyan tree, sharing stories, snacks, and secrets of growing up. "Hazel, do you like someone?" one of them teased, nudging her shoulder. She blushed instantly. "No. I just like studying and drawing." The girls laughed. "Liar. We've seen how you look at Aidan." Hazelthorn covered her face, embarrassed. "I don't look at him. He just understands things." They exchanged knowing smiles. It was all innocent, all pure. the kind of childhood affection that teaches you how the heart works without breaking it. A moment that moved her. One day, during a heavy monsoon rain, Hazelthorn was leaving school when her bicycle chain snapped. She struggled helplessly, her uniform drenched, her bag soaked. Aiden appeared out of nowhere, holding an umbrella. "Here. You'll get sick," he said, placing it above her head. "But you'll get wet," she argued gently. "I don't mind," he smiled. "You matter more." She froze. No boy had ever spoken to her like that. Their eyes met, not romantically, but with something soft, tender. Genuine. He fixed her bicycle chain, hands covered in grease, rain streaming down his face. When he was done, he stepped back shyly. "Be careful going home." Hazelthorn rode away, heart pounding, feeling something new and unexplainable. A memory that would stay with her long after life took them in different directions. The quiet growth of strength. As secondary school progressed, Hazelthorn became more aware of her abilities. She topped every exam, won every art competition, and became the student teachers trusted most. But with growth came pressure. Her parents hoped she would make them proud, teachers expected excellence, classmates admired her. Sometimes she felt overwhelmed. One evening, she cried silently on the rooftop, overwhelmed by expectations and fear of failing those who believed in her. Her mother found her there. "What troubles your heart?" she asked softly. Hazelthorn buried her face in her mother's lap. "What if I'm not as strong as everyone thinks?" Her mother stroked her hair. "Strength doesn't mean never breaking, Hazel. It means breaking, then rising again. And you were born to rise." The words sank deep into Hazelthorn's soul. They would guide her for the rest of her life. The final days of secondary school. As her secondary years neared their end, Hazelthorn realized how much she had outgrown the girl she once was. She wasn't just the child on a bicycle anymore. She was a dreamer, an achiever, a creator. She was becoming Hazelthorn, the girl who would someday inspire the world. On the last day of school, she stood under the banyan tree one last time. Aiden approached her quietly. "I guess this is it," he said. "We'll meet again," Hazelthorn replied softly. Though she wasn't sure. "Maybe we will," he smiled. "Take care, Hazel. The world is waiting for you." She watched him walk away, feeling the last chapter of her childhood gently close. She didn't know what the next chapter held, but she felt ready to step into a larger world, ready to evolve, ready to rise. And with that, her journey toward the future began. Hazelthorn stepped into college life like someone crossing a hidden doorway into a new universe. Everything felt different, the noise, the crowd, the pace of life. Yet somewhere inside her, excitement fluttered like a bird newly freed from its cage. Green willow had shaped her roots, but this place would shape her wings. The first day, a world too big, yet meant for her. The college campus was massive compared to her village school. Wide hallways, tall buildings painted in white and brick, students laughing in clusters, seniors strutting confidently. It was overwhelming yet thrilling. Hazelthorn tightened her grip on her bag and walked through the main gate, reminding herself, "I belong here. I worked hard for this." As she entered the main courtyard, a pair of seniors blocked her path. The ragging that turned into respect, new girl? A senior boy smirked. Hazelthorn nodded carefully. "She has the village look," another whispered loudly. "Must be scared." Hazelthorn lifted her chin, her eyes steady. "I'm not scared." The group laughed, slightly impressed. "Recite a poem," one demanded. "Do 10 squats," another teased. "Say you love the college queen," a girl added mockingly. Hazelthorn kept a calm, polite smile. "I will do a poem," she said confidently. She stepped forward and began reciting one of her own, a poem about fields, hope, and young dreams rising from humble soil. Her voice trembled at first but became strong halfway through. By the time she finished, the courtyard had fallen silent. The seniors stared, surprised. "You're different," the leader finally said. "What's your name?" "Hazelthorn." "Well, Hazelthorn, welcome." For the first time, they smiled with genuine respect. That moment changed everything. Two friends who became her pillars. Within weeks, Hazelthorn made two remarkable friends, both boys, both kind-hearted. One, Rowan, tall, witty, always joking. He could make anyone laugh and treated Hazelthorn like a little sister. Daryl, calm, focused, intelligent. He admired Hazelthorn's discipline and often helped her during tough assignments. There was no romance between them, just deep, pure friendship. Rowan would tease, "If anyone troubles you, tell me, I have muscles." Hazelthorn would laugh, "You? Muscles? Show me." He flexed dramatically, making everyone burst into laughter. Daryl was different. "Hazel," he would say, "you don't just study. You own the classroom." She smiled, shy but grateful for the encouragement. These two boys became her closest allies, the brothers she never had, the girl who started to shine. College revealed a new side of Hazelthorn. She joined debate competitions, art committees, cultural festivals, academic councils. Her confidence grew. Her voice grew stronger. Her ideas became sharper. Teachers adored her. Seniors respected her, juniors admired her. Rumors spread quickly. "Have you met Hazelthorn? She's the topper. She's incredible at speaking. She's the artist who designed the festival poster. She's magical." Hazelthorn didn't chase attention, but it came anyway. Her name started echoing through classrooms and hallways. Like the beginning of a legend, the transformation into a queen. At the annual college festival, Hazelthorn was asked to lead the entire event, the highest honor for a student. She organized teams, guided juniors, handled budgets, and designed breathtaking decor. Everyone watched in awe as a girl from a humble village commanded the entire campus with effortless elegance. On the final night of the festival, as lights glowed across the stage and music filled the air, Rowan whispered, "Hazel, you're ruling this college. I think we should call you the Queen." Daryl nodded, "It suits her." And from that night onward, the name spread like wildfire. Queen Hazelthorn, the girl with grace, brilliance, and natural leadership. Hazelthorn didn't let the title go to her head, but deep inside, she felt something she had never felt before: power, confidence, belonging. Moments she would never forget. The day she stood up for a junior, a group of rude seniors tried to bully a new girl. Hazelthorn stepped between them. "She's under my protection," she said firmly. The seniors backed off instantly. From then on, juniors looked at her like she was their guardian. The night of tears and triumph. One evening, Hazelthorn broke down. Too much pressure, too many responsibilities. Rowan and Daryl sat beside her under the stars. "Hazel," Rowan whispered, "even queens cry. And even queens rise," Daryl added softly. Their words rebuilt her spirit, the exam that changed her status. When results came out, Hazelthorn ranked first college-wide, a position rarely achieved by first-year students. The principal shook her hand. "You are a gift to this institution, Hazelthorn." The entire auditorium clapped as she stood on stage, a soft light framing her like a shining halo. The end of college, the beginning of destiny. College years passed in a blur of achievements, friendships, laughter, and deep personal growth. Hazelthorn left as the top-performing student, the most respected leader, the most creative artist, the girl who turned an entire campus brighter simply by being there. On her last day, she walked through the empty courtyard, the same place she had been ragged years ago, and smiled. She whispered to herself, "I was never meant to stay small." Her village roots were strong, her spirit was stronger, and her next chapter lay in a world even bigger, university life, where she would chase a doctorate degree and discover her true depth. Hazelthorn walked out of the college gates with her head high, her heart full, and her destiny quietly unfolding. The morning Hazelthorn left for university, the village seemed unusually still. Even the wind paused against the fields as if holding its breath, watching her take the first real step beyond the horizons that had shaped her childhood. Her parents stood by the old gate, pride and worry mixing in their eyes. Hazel's bicycle, once her faithful companion, leaned casually against a tree, having fulfilled its purpose. With a small suitcase and a heart full of trembling ambition, Hazelthorn boarded the bus that would carry her miles away from Ravenspire Village. She stared out of the window as the fields slowly disappeared from view, replaced by highways and towering buildings. Her journey, from dusty rural paths to polished university corridors, had begun. School arrival at the Academy of Higher Sciences. The university was nothing like college, it was massive, intimidating, buzzing with the bright energy of dreamers. Here, nobody knew her, nobody cared that she had been a topper, nobody knew about her art, her projects, her popularity. She was just another student, standing quietly in the shadow of grand lecture halls. Hazelthorn walked through the campus with wide eyes, torn between excitement and fear. The students around her spoke fast, walked faster, and seemed to carry the confidence of people born for success. She felt small, but not defeated. Graduation cap choosing the hardest path. During course selection, Hazelthorn faced a choice. Pick an easy field. Or dive into a subject that would challenge every part of her mind. She chose applied scientific design development, a field that merged engineering, innovation, research, and creativity. It was known as the Dragon Field because most students burned out halfway, but Hazelthorn felt something calling her toward it, as if this field had been waiting for her all along. Her classmates raised eyebrows when they heard her choice. "You're brave," one said. "You're crazy." Another laughed. Hazelthorn simply smiled. She had walked harder paths before. Fire the hardest nights. University life was a storm. Assignments piled up like mountains. Research papers drained every drop of energy. Experiments failed more often than they succeeded. Reports had to be rewritten again and again. Some nights Hazelthorn didn't sleep at all. She worked until dawn, her eyes burning, her hands shaking, her mind teetering between exhaustion and determination. Sometimes she cried quietly in the corner of her hostel room, afraid she wouldn't survive this life. But then she remembered the dusty village road, her rattling bicycle, her parents in the fields, the art projects she created with nothing but scraps. The promise she made to herself, and every time she remembered, she rose again. Her professor, Dr. Alara Gray, noticed her. "You have something rare," she told Hazelthorn one evening after class. "Most students here work with their minds. But you work with your mind and your soul. Don't lose that." These words became fuel in her darkest moments, books becoming the scholar she was destined to be. With time, Hazelthorn transformed. She wasn't just a good student, she became one of the brightest the department had ever seen. She presented research at conferences. She published papers that professors quoted. She created prototypes that left her evaluators speechless. She balanced creativity with science, imagination with precision. The girl who once painted school charts under a lantern was now designing real-world solutions under laboratory lights. She grew, she matured, she evolved, and one day, her professor placed a hand on her shoulder and said, "It's time. You're ready for a doctorate." Hazelthorn froze. A doctorate, her, the farmer's daughter from Ravenspire village, but the fire inside her whispered, "Yes. You are ready." Military medal. The doctorate, her final ascent. The journey toward a doctorate was brutal. Research, failures, corrections, pressure, competition, isolation. Sleepless nights that blurred into weeks. Her thesis was her battlefield, her mind was her weapon, her courage was her armor. And finally, one cold morning, Hazelthorn stood in a packed auditorium delivering her final defense presentation. Her voice shook at first, then strengthened, then soared. When she finished, the room was silent for a moment, a long, powerful moment, then applause erupted. She had done it, against every odd, against every expectation, against every limitation. Hazelthorn Thornfield was now Dr. Hazelthorn. Ring love, partnership, a new life. Somewhere along her academic journey, Hazelthorn met someone who didn't try to dim her light, he understood it. A gentle, wise, supportive man who admired her strength and walked beside her with quiet pride. Their companionship grew into partnership, and their partnership grew into marriage. They lived simply, lovingly, building a home where respect was the foundation. They had 2 beautiful children. And Hazelthorn learned the art of balancing textbooks with bedtime stories, research meetings with school picnics, deadlines with playtime. Her life became full, challenging but full of meaning. Briefcase becoming a businesswoman. After completing her doctorate, Hazelthorn didn't choose the safe path. She created her own path, using her education, creativity, village values, and unstoppable resilience. She launched a design development company. She hired people from rural backgrounds. She trained girls who had been told they were not enough. She became a mentor, a leader, a guide. Her business grew, then expanded, then became a symbol. Hazelthorn became Lady Hazelthorn, a name whispered with admiration, respect, and inspiration. Globe showing Europe-Africa becoming a global symbol. Lady Hazelthorn traveled the world, gave speeches at international forums, won awards for innovation, wrote books, taught women to rise, supported children to dream, built academies in rural areas. She became living proof that where you start does not decide where you will go. Her journey, from a small village girl on a bicycle to a global icon, became a story told in classrooms, documentaries, and conferences. Her story lit thousands of candles in the darkness of doubt. Glowing star, the final message. The legacy of Lady Hazelthorn. One evening, years later, Lady Hazelthorn returned to Ravenspire village. The fields were the same, the wind still carried the same scent of earth, and the old dirt roads still remembered her footsteps. A little village girl approached her shyly and asked, "Lady Hazelthorn, how did you become you?" Hazelthorn bent down, smiled gently, and said, "Because I never allowed the world to tell me who I couldn't become." Then she stood, looking at the horizon where her journey had begun, and whispered to the wind, "Every girl is a queen, she only needs to discover her crown." And with that, the story of Lady Hazelthorn, full of struggle, grit, love, wisdom, motherhood, ambition, and brilliance.